Oi, governor.
What do you want?
Oi. It's some kind of podcast here, then.
You what, mate?
You what?
You what?
You what?
No, you what?
Bit rude, isn't it?
Now going up there to the pub down with Jim and the boys, right?
Oi, bruv. Oi, bruv.
We go up to the pub. There's no
Welcome.
podcasts. Go to
Yeah.
the pubcast.
Oh, now we're Australian, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it changed. I feel more comfortable in this accent. I really don't know why. I think it's because I listen to too many Australian podcasts, being one.
I'm just trying to think of like Australian podcasts, like, all right, welcome back to the Outback. Here we're talking about this nice big Sheila right here. Look at her, crikey.
Listen to me plagiarize another podcast's opening. This week on Mysterious Universe, we've got Monster Girl Mermaids, men who lift castles with their bare hands, and men who are very terrible at confrontation.
Yes, this is the High Class Podcast. Yes, welcome to the Protagonist seat. I'm Alex. This is Ian, my co-host.
Hello.
Yes.
I feel like I got my hair cut recently, and I feel like I have downgraded from colonial New Englander to foppish noble.
Foppish noble.
Foppish noble. Because it still curls right at the ends. And
I'm picturing that classic nobleman background character.
Yeah.
With, the purple overcoat thing that he'd be wearing.
Yes, my hairstylist gave it to me. I don't know why. I was confused.
Oh, yes, this will look wonderful in my closet. Hopefully Mumsy approves.
Mumsy. Hey, what do we do on this podcast besides terrible accents and plagiarism?
Besides that, I don't really know. I guess we talk about Japanese cartoons, specifically 5 of them.
Huh. And then we make jokes and have tangents and plagiarize their plots.
It's not plagiarism, it's a summary.
It's a plagiarized novelization of an audiobook.
Sure.
Through the anime medium.
Of course. You are absolutely correct.
Hit the nail right on the head.
You've done it. Congratulations. Good for you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Quack, quack.
Memes.
Anyway,
let's
we jump right into it. We are starting with Tower of God. Not Tower of God, that's the other one. God of High School.
Hey, watch Tower of God. That's pretty cool too. And there's a lot of fighting in it.
Yeah, there's a lot of fighting in this one too.
Who'd have thunk it?
So, God of High School. So at the start of the episode, they're all leaving from the early round that they did, where they did the battle royale. It ended last time with the dude who has his arms in the straitjacket fighting Murray. And
Murray.
Murray. He's Murray to me. Hey, Murray! Right.
He's Bill Murray.
Yeah, he ended up fighting Murray, and when they were about to really get into their match, the sword girl, Mira, jumped up and broke Jin's neck. Or, not Jin.
Literally.
Oh, yeah, his name is Jin, right?
It's Jin Mori.
Okay, yeah. So she broke Jin's neck, literally, because they show the nanomachines fixing him, and it's like, wow, you could recover from a broken neck.
These are the best. These are Metal Gear level nanomachines. Like, we made the Metal Gear jokes already, but holy shit. It just is Metal Gear.
Also, her default thing to him was to break his neck.
Yes, because when you lose your sword and you are a swordsman, that's your only backup. Just break everyone's neck.
But they're walking home, and they're getting to know each other, which is their reasons for fighting. Jin's is very simple. He just wants to fight strong people because he is a shonen protagonist.
He's fucking Goku.
He wants to fight strong people, and this is the perfect opportunity. The other guy, I think his name's Dewa.
Yeah, I think he's got either a Chinese name or an actual Korean name.
Yeah, Dewa wants to. He wants money, of course, because it shows that he has a relative in the hospital, probably a sick little sister or something.
I just want money.
And the girl wants to make her family's sword style respected.
She needs to keep the line of, I forget what their
The
specific.
Moonlight Greatsword.
She needs to pass on the Moonlight Greatsword style. Because, yes.
It's like the Moonlight something, but in my mind I just thought, Moonlight Greatsword.
Moon, whatever. Fuck it. The Moonlight Greatsword technique. And
Jin is messing around with her sword, and he accidentally drops it into a river.
Because he's like, why would you let people steal your sword so easily? And she's like, give that shit back. And then he drops it. And then the tone immediately changes.
Yeah, she slaps him across the face and tells him to just go home.
Get out of here. And it's just instantly dire.
Yeah, then she's all sad in the river by herself looking for her sword. But of course the two of them show up to help.
Yeah, and they each have better sources of light. Because she uses her phone, Jin shows up with like a big flashlight, and then Dewa shows up with fucking floodlights.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I got these from work. My dude works at a grocery store.
Not even. He works at a convenience store.
Yeah, why the... Wait, what? How many jobs does this man have?
He does need money.
He does need money. He's got every job. He has all of them. That's why there's a jobs crisis, because he took them all.
And then they become best friends after this. They all work together, and then the next day we get a focus on a new character who is this Tai Chi guy. I think his name's Go.
His name is, yeah, it's Go Gammon.
Go Gammon! Go Gammon!
Go Gammon Tai Chi!
Yeah, so...
That worked a lot better than I thought it would. I'm kind of proud of that.
Yeah, so he ends up... The dude with the dude in the straitjacket picks a fight with him, and you can tell that they're going to be the people that are going to fight each other first, because
we need to get morally invested in someone.
We need to hype up a rivalry.
We need to have a character that we get invested in one episode, fight the bad guy, but also lose to the bad guy to show everyone just how strong the bad guy is. So that's what happens.
And we see a series of matches between some of the contestants. Basically, all the name people with a bunch of just throwaway characters. Yeah.
And all of the throwaway characters, well, they're a little bit more diverse this time. Instead of just man in hoodie with hat.
Yeah, now it's man in karate uniform. Or now man in hoodie.
Large man in hoodie.
There's one guy that gets beaten. His fighting name is Yes Man.
And yeah, I saw that. I loved it.
And he just shouts as he's losing, "No!"
Yeah. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
But the animation in the show is very good, because when Go ends up fighting the straitjacket guy, it looks really nice.
I feel like they had people reference actual Tai Chi, and it kind of shows that they put the work into the animation, because all of the movement itself is very fluid and flows together nicely, even though he is just like punching chi through a man's chest and
this is a
blowing
mixed
him
martial arts tournament too, so realistically the Tai Chi guy would be fucked.
Yeah, he would be. And
like that is not a style that really goes against any other martial arts form.
Tai Chi is almost more of a form of meditation, moving meditation, than it is actual martial arts.
Yeah, it's just mythologized to hell and back.
Kind of like karate, because karate is mostly like forms and kata that you can't really actually use in a fight.
Growing up, when I like did karate, from what it was described to me at least, it was more of a form of self-defense.
Yeah, it is very defensive. I
It's
also
just
took
more.
karate,
It was just. I feel like most kids did.
especially in New Hampshire, because like there is nothing else to do.
So it's like, hey, have kids do karate.
I kind of wish I had taken jujitsu instead. I feel like I would have enjoyed that more.
I feel like most jujitsu places haven't really popped up besides maybe the past 10 years around here. So
Yeah,
we would have already been too old by that point.
you're never too old.
Because if you're in like high school and you say to your parents, "Mom, Dad, I want to do jujitsu," they'd be like, "What? No, you're too old for that. You're too old for martial arts."
And that's when the 80s pump up kid power song comes on, and you say to your parents you're going to hang out with your friends after school, but secretly
You're all
you go
practicing martial arts.
you go to jujitsu and you all learn martial arts and you learn the way of the fist.
Bow to your sensei.
Bow to your sensei, Rex Kwando. That movie's fucking great.
But yeah,
Napoleon Dynamite's the best anime.
they ended up so of course the Tai Chi guy, he's winning at first, and then the dude decides to release one of his arms from the straitjacket, and the second he does that, he just starts utterly destroying him.
And it's savage too. Like he kicks the shit out of this guy. And eventually he gets him on, well, not eventually, it's actually kind of quick, but he gets him on the ground and he's like, "Beg for forgiveness. Bow to
And
your
then we,
sensei."
and then we get a flashback of him doing the same thing. And I think the what's his name? I'm pretty sure this guy got beaten by the guy who runs
Yeah.
the tournament.
Um
I think his name's
shit.
Moojin Park.
Yeah.
Also, there's a part at the beginning of the episode where he just visits the Pentagon and talks to the United States president, who looks like Tony Stark.
He goes to the Pentagon and talks to Tony Stark. And that's it. That is that scene. That's it. I don't even remember what the purpose of that was.
It just, I think, to show that he's got leverage over the United States or something. He's just that powerful.
You know what? Well, like he's gonna end up fist fighting with Maury at some point. So whatever.
Yeah.
I guarantee it.
Oh, but so Go is losing super hard, and then it's not even really a fight anymore as much as just Go refusing to give up, and this dude's like, "I'm gonna break his arms."
I'm gonna break both your arms, and then I'm gonna break both your legs. I'm gonna keep breaking them
And then
until you
Jin
beg
shows
for
up and kicks him in
forgiveness.
the face in basically a totally against the rules thing where he just jumps in and starts fighting in someone else's match.
Because he's the main character.
And he couldn't watch it anymore, so he had to get involved.
And you know what? I'm glad he did, because this fight is sick.
And then this dude unleashes a bunch of shadow energy, and all the referees have to jump in.
I like how when everyone jumps in to stop Maury from fighting because he broke a rule, all of the like recruiters are standing with their arms just pointed at him. Like, "You fucking move, kid. I'm gonna send this arm right through your face.
But
Gonna pull your brain out of your skull."
The dude jumps in, and him and Jin fight, and Jin kicks him with like a super kick and knocks him unconscious.
Super triple kick.
And then Moojin Park shows up and does his Hand of God thing, which knocks Jin down and stuns him.
He freaking stun locks him in that BS Hand of God move.
And they all decide that, well, he makes an announcement that the tournament will go on as scheduled, but they will decide on what Jin's punishment is going to be later.
And everyone's super pumped as fuck about Jin. Everyone loves him.
And of course, they're probably going to be like, it was awesome, so he gets off scot-free.
That was literally my prediction at the end of the episode. And I was like, well, they're going to realize that everyone loves him because everyone loves the dude who comes in at the last moment and kicks the shit out of the bad guy.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, well... But I'm wondering what the punishment's going to be. Because I feel like there's going to be something, but it's not going to be banishment.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll cut one of his heads off. Then the
But
nano machines will grow
I'm
another one.
I'm liking the show better than I expected. It's simple. It's shonen.
It's a fight show. It is a show you watch the cool fights.
You just watch the fights.
That's
and it
what
looks good, so I'm down.
I feel like shonen need to have good fights because not a whole lot else is really going to draw people. Because if you don't have cool fights, what are you doing? What are you doing, kid?
Yeah. Like how Demon Slayer was pretty boring throughout most of it, but then it had that one episode that everyone was like, ah!
Like, the last 2 fights are pretty cool. And honestly, the fight that everyone is super down with is one that I'm like, yeah, it's okay. Because there's like a lot of shit that just comes out of nowhere without any setup or foreshadowing, and I don't like that.
People just like it because it looks good.
Yeah. I do like the art style. I wish more things had a more unique art style. Like this, where everyone who is a main character has cauliflower ear.
Yeah, or their nose looks like they have a cold. It looks like they've been blowing their nose a lot.
Yeah, because that's what you do when you fight. You blow your nose.
I'm not sure if they're just doing that because Tower of God kind of had that too. Is that just what they're deciding the Korean aesthetic is going to be?
I guess.
It's like, how are we going to make all of our Korean characters look? Well, we're just going to do what we do normally for anime, but just make it, for some reason, make their ears and nose red.
I also like how the announcer character has the longest nose ever, but no one else is like that cartoony. It's just for whatever reason, this dude has a nose that is at least 1 foot long.
He reminds me of the Mike guy from My Hero.
Me too.
And both of them are the MC character.
They are both the MC. Maybe that's a trope. Is that a thing?
I don't know. I feel like the MC has to kind of stand out and be annoying, though.
Oh, he's definitely got to be annoying.
Yeah.
Maybe they wanted his nose to be annoying.
He's got a really annoying nose.
How do we make this character feel irritating? Tom, you got good ideas. Well, as the only white person here, for whatever reason this meeting we're speaking English in, what if we just gave him a big nose? People hate big noses. They make fun of them all the time. This is why we hired you, Jim.
Anyway, we're going to go back to speaking Japanese now, so you just sit right there.
We know you don't speak Japanese, Jim, so you sit tight. We'll come back to you if we need any new ideas.
Sumimasen desu ka?
Huh. I have no idea what my bosses are saying, but I know they'll call on me when the time is right. Because Jim is also a shonen protagonist.
He just sits there all satisfied and leans in his chair.
He leans back, arms crossed, knowing he put in a good lot of work today.
Meanwhile, they're discussing, we pay Jim way too much for this.
Why do we even have him here? That was the dumbest idea anyone's ever said. Guys, I think Jim's stupid.
You know,
and
it's
then
screw
they fire him.
But yeah, so good show.
Yes,
I like it. Like it a lot more than I expected. And you know what I liked better more than I expected this week?
What?
Monster Girl Doctor.
Yeah, a show that was a little bit more tame than it usually is.
Yeah,
for
it was
a show
more tame
with
this
2
week.
episodes.
Instead of horse girl foot fetish, we got gill fingering.
Yes. Which actually reminds me of a scene from the Amazon Prime show The Boys, where someone assaults the Aquaman character by doing that.
Ew.
It's a hard scene to watch, man, but that show is real good. Well, let's talk about Monster Girl Doctor. A stirring medical drama.
So this week we get from, I think her name is Safi. Yeah, Safi is the
Yeah.
Lamia, the snake girl.
Her official name is Safentit, but he just calls her Safe.
Yeah. And she kind of recollects about how she met Glenn. Apparently, she was sort of like a hostage at one point to his family because I guess humans and beasts are at war or whatever. So
They were.
she stayed with him just to make sure that her people didn't try anything.
And they became best friends.
Yeah, because they spent their childhood together. And then Glenn went on to be a doctor, and she became his assistant. And that's just how things go. And in this episode, they go shopping together in essentially fantasy Venice.
Mermaid Town.
And I actually thought the way they did this town was kind of neat, like the idea of the humans living in the land part and then all the aquatic people living underneath.
There's way more thought put into how like this world and society functions than there should be. Because
Because the
like,
previous one was pretty generic. This one was kind of neat just because I liked how they did the structure, how they have the regular guy when they're in the certain part of the canals using the gondola, and then he just swaps off his shift with one of the mermaid dudes,
yeah, well,
and he
this
just
is
drags it
where
underneath.
he literally it's doesn't even stop. He just gets off on a dock and is like, "Well, this is where I call it a day. You guys have a fun time."
And if they need to get his attention, they just knock on the boat.
Yeah. We also learned that the Lamia Safe is an albino,
Yeah, which is why she's always wearing that veil over her face whenever they're out.
and the shirt veil, as I call it,
Yeah,
which looks like an early 2000s mesh punk shirt.
it does. It does. But yeah, so she's sensitive to the sun.
And they need sunscreen and like pure water and
Which
some
is weird because you think it
alcohol.
wouldn't really matter that much because snakes are cold blooded. So,
I honestly don't know. I'm assuming that being part snake and part human, or some kind of fusion between the two, means that like there's some kind of sensitivity there, but I don't know. I don't know how this shit works.
also, is
All
it
I
just the
know
skin
is
part or the scale part? Also, because
I
scales
don't
and skin are
know.
different.
I don't. Maybe it's just the skin parts. Like, because she only wears the shirt on the skin parts.
Well, I feel like finding a shirt for, an
A
entire
tail.
snake torso would just be too much.
You could do it. It would be like a hot dog. It would be like a hot dog.
I guess, though, you couldn't, though, because it would really restrict movement.
Depends on the material. Like I feel like well, you wouldn't want to do this, but I feel like if you made it out of like wool, it would be stretchy enough so that you could still move. But then
Yeah,
it'd
but
be real hot.
also you'd have to move on the ground, so you'd be constantly scuffing it.
That's true. What if
We're
they
getting really
made
into this, like the how how being a snake girl would work with
what if they
albinoism.
I think you know what? This is what people come here for. People spend all their days wondering what would a snake girl shirt look like. I think I've solved it.
It's like those things where they wonder how a centaur would wear pants. Is it just, the two in the front, or is it just all like four legs?
This is important and I want to know. I guess the shorthand from this show is they don't. Um, I think, you know how feety pajamas have like the little plastic soles on the bottom? I think
Yes.
a snake person shirt would be like people feety pajamas, but one side would just have that kind of like plastic sole on it.
But that would probably make it harder for them to move because that sole is meant so you don't slide, and their whole
That's
movement is sliding based.
that's a valid point. I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe
I
they
feel like the
put
scale part's got to be fine.
yeah.
Because think about it, it's scales. That's technically a whole layer between you, like your skin and the sun.
I mean, the scales kind of is the skin.
I thought the scales grow on top of the skin.
Yeah, it's like if your body was covered in fingernails.
Ugh.
It's horrifying imagery, but it works.
But
What the fuck happened in this episode? I got too lost in the sauce.
yeah, we got lost in the sauce. No, they meet the mermaid girl because we were talking about how neat the town was, and then we got into
That's
snake
right.
anatomy. But yeah, they meet a mermaid girl who's selling her songs. Basically, you pay her and she sings.
She's a bard.
And of course, she gets Glenn and Safi to go over to her because she's like, "Hey, the lovely couple over there," and Safi's like, "That's us. That's the lovely couple."
She blows all that hot smoke. Super hot fire.
But yeah,
But
so
something catches Glenn's eye.
yeah, he starts scared. He's staring at her gills, and then after he offers to pay her for one of her songs, he offers to pay her for two, and she says at first, "Oh, you're making fun of me. That's only enough for one." He's like, "No, I'm not making fun of you. I'm going to give you a free checkup for the second one."
'Cause I'm a doctor.
And he shows his armband, Doctor.
But yes, because no one could have an armband like that and not be a doctor.
Yeah, but they listen to her song, and she starts singing in English.
Yeah.
And she's really good, but then she starts coughing. Because of course she's sick, because this show is called Monster Girl Doctor, not Monster Girl Tourist.
And you know what? I would still watch that show. But he's like, there's something fucked up with her gills. Ferryman,
Yeah.
and I like the design of all the fish people. I will say that because they're more like shark people, and I like sharks because sharks are cool.
Sharks are cool. But yeah, he has them go somewhere secluded so he can do the examination of her. And he can see inside her throat when he looks in that she's got sort of these like sores on her tonsils and like the back of
Noted
the throat.
inflammation of the larynx.
But her lungs and her breathing there are fine. And so then he decides to check out her gills and notices they're a bit dry.
They're not producing enough mucus.
And he really gets up in there, and this is the fan service scene.
This is the fan service scene, and you know what? It's actually kind of short.
Yeah,
it's still extensively drawn out, but it is shorter than one might expect.
He doesn't fondle any boobs this episode.
Nope, just the gills.
And
just
yeah,
the gills.
he checks out the gills and then realizes that she spends way too much time not in the water for a mermaid.
Yeah, because she spends basically all day sitting next to this bridge.
Because she's trying to earn money, and she spends all of her time on the surface singing. So her gills are dried out, and that's not good.
And then Chekhov's child falls into the lake, and there's big tides. Because there has to be danger.
And they're like, "Oh no," and they ask the ferryman if he can go. He's like, "I could, but then the gondola would float away or something."
Yeah, the gondola would get caught in the tides because remember I mentioned that earlier, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I do remember that."
So of course the only person to go is the mermaid girl, so she dives in and goes to save Chekhov's child.
And she saves Chekhov's pink-haired child, and yay, he's fine.
They bring the child back, but of course since her gills are all not working, she starts drowning. And then Glenn realizes that and dives in after her.
And he kind of saves her.
No, he does. I think he goes and
he blocks the air from her lungs to basically kickstart her gills to start working.
Yeah, although wasn't that going to end up being a thing anyway? Wasn't drowning going to block the air from her lungs?
See, that's what I was wondering. Why?
It kickstarts her gills, and she saves him right as he's about to fall unconscious. And then They get pulled out of the water by Safi's tail, even though I thought they were way deeper.
I guess not.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's only a minor inconsistency.
And she's all good. It shows that they come back later to visit her, and apparently they gave her some moisturizer to put on.
Here, use this Vaseline. And now she can sing, and everything's great.
Yep, and she's got a crush on Glenn, obviously, and yep, there we go.
I like how everyone has like a pretty fantasy name. You know, you've got Safintit.
Yeah,
You've
just
got,
Glenn.
Like Lululemon, and then the main character's name is fucking Glenn.
Yeah, just Glenn. Which is weird too, because it's clear that he's not just a random fantasy world person. He's clearly Japanese-esque fantasy, because they have it shows him in his childhood, a very traditional Japanese-esque estate.
Right.
And his name's Glenn.
Hey guys, I'm gonna be your fantasy doctor this evening. I'm Steven. You just call me good old Dr. Steve.
Although I guess if you are Japanese, Glenn's a pretty, like, fantasy-esque name.
Love to see that brainstorming session. What's the most fantasy outlandish name we can think of? How about Glenn? Just rolling with the bangers today.
But you know what? It was a better episode than last week. Last week I was like, oh, this is going to be the trashy show that we're going to drop pretty quickly. But this was actually a good episode.
Yeah, it was cool.
And I really like Safi.
Me too. I like the characters more than I expected. Because, like, Glenn is, as expected, like, your kind of generic nice guy archetype. But he's super into being a doctor, to the point where he will just, like, ogle people that he thinks have something wrong with them and do whatever he needs. I'll activate my doctor vision.
But good shit. I'm hoping they keep it up. Hoping we don't just dip after this, like this was the peak.
Yeah, especially because next week we've got Frankengirl.
Which, yeah, that might be cool.
You know how much I love zombies. I am down for Flesh Golem Frankengirl episode. Just sew those limbs back on, whatever.
Yeah. Moving on. Next on the list is The Misfit of Demon King Academy.
Captain Busted.
Yeah, Captain Busted. So in this episode, they get a visit from one of the deans, who are the original servants of the Demon Lord.
Yes, the Demon Lord, before he left, put in place 7 archdemons to rule over everything.
Yeah, and one of them is going to come speak to their class, and they make sure specifically, the teacher even says to the main character, like, be on your best behavior the second this guy gets in here. And he's like, okay, I'll try. And then the second the dean walks in, he goes, yo, it's been a long time.
Hey, Ivis, what's going on, my dude? And Ivis is just like, what the fuck?
And they're all freaking out at the fact that he just spoke so casually to someone who's essentially a god to all of them. He's like, yeah, it's been 2,000 years. How have you been? I do not have memory from 2,000 years ago. But of course, he grabs him by the face and tries to restart his memory.
Well, let's just fix that.
And then after a second, he just stops and goes, huh, so that's it. And then he just stops. And he doesn't get in trouble or anything.
Everyone is just, I mean, at this point, I would just be so stunned. Like, what do you even do with this kid?
But after class, he does talk to him again, and the guy kind of realizes there is something about him, but he says, I can't be sure that if you're the one who erased my memories or not, so I'm just going to stay neutral for right now.
Yeah, because basically he's like, the Demon Lord I know is named whatever the other name is. I can't remember. It's like Avos something.
It's like, so I'm just gonna
Avon.
stand to the side. Something about you seems nostalgic, but I'll just let you take care of it.
Yeah. You handle it and you get back to me, brother. And the Demon Lord's like, I do.
That works for me. And we
And then
see,
it's
yeah,
dungeon crawling time.
yeah, and he only has Misha and Sasha with him because he rejected all of the other people that wanted to join him because he's doing quality over quantity.
You know what? That's the way you want to do it.
Yeah, and they have
You
to go
want,
into a dungeon together. And Sasha, it's her birthday apparently coming up.
and
I guess it's both
Misha
their
wants to
birthdays
get her.
because I guess they're twins.
Yeah, and Misha wants to get her a present.
And
And
yeah, of course, everyone rushes in, and they're like, "Wait, shouldn't we be rushing too?" He's like, "Nah, this is my castle. I know all the shortcuts."
guys, this is my house. So everyone's just like raiding my house.
But yeah, he tells Misha about a treasure room, and if there's anything still in there, she can help herself to it.
Because this is the coolest dude of all time.
And they end up going to the room where the secret scepter is. On the way there, they reach a dead end. He's like, "This is a secret passage," and they're like, "Well, we checked it out with I checked it out with my magical eyes, and I don't see anything here." He's like, "That's because I took a precaution against magic eyes," and he just walks through the wall and destroys it. See, it's a secret passage.
See? It's no door. It's just a wall. And you know what? That's pretty smart, actually. Because who the hell would think about that?
Yeah, he just busts down the wall, and then they
You
find the scepter.
I love how they reach the door to the treasure room
And
and
it's
they're like,
massive.
shit, how are we this thing is meant to withstand just the most powerful magic. How are we gonna blow this thing down? And it
He's like, just don't use magic, and he just
yeah,
uses his super strength to open it up.
just open the door like a normal person, except not like a normal person, like a super strong man who can literally lift up a castle.
Yeah.
Because why not? Fuck it.
And then they find the staff. They leave Sasha alone with it while he and Misha go in the other room, and they pick out a present, which is, I
Yeah.
think, like this robe of fire resistance or something.
It is the Phoenix aspect robe or something like that, but it's very red and it looks warm and comfy.
Yeah.
I like it.
And then Misha was eyeing some ring, and apparently it's the special ice ring. And I'm like, oh, fire and ice. What a dynamic
And
you got going on.
and I was like, I guarantee he took that while she wasn't looking and is planning on giving it to her on her birthday.
Yeah, because
A
he's
hundred.
like, hey, it's your birthday. Don't you want anything? She's like, no.
Getting my sister a present is a present enough,
Yeah.
which is
So,
bullshit.
and then she gives the robe to Sasha, and Sasha kicks out Anos because she's gonna change. So he goes to wait in the other room, and then when he comes back in, he finds that Sasha
He
has stabbed Misha.
He goes to wait in the other room while they put the robe on over her clothes.
Yeah, it's not really even changing. It's just putting on a jacket.
That's like going to put on your jacket after leaving a restaurant and being like, guys, don't stare at me. That's weird. And then putting your jacket on and just leaving,
Like,
which kind of makes me want to do that.
yeah, it's adding more clothes. Nothing was removed in the process.
Guys, I'm putting on more layers. You don't want to see that.
It's like some
Like,
kind of Victorian-esque shit. Like, oh,
man,
please, madam.
so scandalous. Putting on a petticoat and an overcoat.
In front of
Oh,
the entire gallery.
such lusty maidenry.
But yeah, so he comes back in, and Misha has been stabbed by Sasha, and she's bad now.
I'm
I
evil
tricked you.
now.
I didn't actually care about Misha the whole time. And then he's like, "You're lying, and this is a really forced act."
This feels weird and unnatural, and I know you're lying. So just give it up. And
But
she doesn't at first.
and he heals Misha because he's like, yeah, I
He
healed her the second I walked back in the room.
I healed her and then I put up my own illusion because I'm the most powerful man. You see what I want you to see.
And he wanted to question Sasha, but Misha tells him to stop, and so they let her get away. But obviously, she's not going to get away because this guy has teleportation magic.
He has teleportation magic. He can bring back people from the dead,
Like, what are
which
you
is
going to do?
the first thing I thought when he walks back into the room and Misha is stabbed was like, he can just bring her back to life. He can raise that was a whole crux of a fight, was killing one dude and then bringing him back to life until he gives up.
Yeah, I don't know what her plan was, especially
I don't
considering how strong everyone just knows this guy is.
he he negated the most powerful fire magic with like the weakest magic, just shot errantly and
Yeah,
picked up a castle and just he's unstoppable. What are you hoping to do in one-on-one combat?
but they let her get away, and he asks Misha to explain herself, and she mentions that Misha never technically existed. So we're going to elaborate on that next week.
She's like a homunculus, I'm assuming.
Yeah, which I thought we already knew.
Me too, but I guess there's more to it. I don't
Unless they
know.
need to explain what a homunculus really is to us. And the fact that they used living doll before didn't actually mean that, or it's like they didn't expect us to know what that meant.
I kind of hope not, but I wouldn't be entirely surprised because there's probably people out there who do not know what a homunculus is,
Yeah, but they probably aren't watching this
aren't
anime.
watching this. Yeah,
Because how many times are homunculus, or homunculi used in anime? A
all of
fuck
them,
ton.
every single one. I don't
But
know.
yeah. So I
I
guess we'll see next week if we're right or not. I hope we're not.
Well, at the very least, we don't know why. Like maybe it's not the what they'll explain, but the why. Because like they've already got Sasha. Why bother making another one?
Yeah, we gotta learn the why.
Learning the whys.
Speaking
What
of
else is on our
why,
list?
just why is Rent a Girlfriend so cringy?
Because the main character is garbage. He is garbage awful.
He is awful. So this week, he continues to be a little piece of crap and just be like, I can't tell the truth to anybody. I can't tell the truth to my grandma. Or, I'm
He
just
almost
a.
he
He
almost
almost,
tells the truth to
which
his
is why I
grandma.
got mad at this point where I'm like, why? Why did you step in there? It was going to be over.
She like I guess she didn't want to, because like his grandma is just like, I'm coming over right now, you better invite your girlfriend or I will burn down the
Also, I like how
whole
that's
world.
his grandma only views him as like having any value with oh, that girl broke up with you. You'll never have another girlfriend again.
It's pretty good. I like a lot of the characters besides the main character. Like everyone else is kind of neat.
But yeah, oh, so you start off with turns out they go to the same college together, and not only that, they are neighbors.
Yes.
Their
She's like,
apartments are right next to each other.
why are you my neighbor? And he's like, I don't know. I just fucking I live here in this apartment. And that was the only time, and probably will be the only time, where I was on his side.
Yeah, that's
Because,
not
like,
anything he
shit, man.
controls.
He's
But
just,
yeah,
like, just what he got.
he is also not over his ex-girlfriend. I think her name's Manami,
Yeah.
and she's weird.
She's a psycho. She is 100% psycho crazy.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that.
So his grandma wants to come visit him, and she's like, "Bring your girlfriend." He's like, "Oh," and he goes next door to beg Chizuru, and she's like, "No."
As any reasonable person would, she brings up the TOS.
Yeah, they're not allowed to go to a customer's house.
And Grandma comes over and she's like, wow, you get kind of a shitty apartment. No wonder you haven't had a girlfriend until now.
And then after he's like, Grandma, I gotta be honest with you. And she already pretty much assumes that what he's gonna say. And he's about to come clean to his grandma, but then Chizuru shows up and she's like, sorry, I just got held up cooking.
Girlfriend mode, activate. And it's just like,
It's like,
come
oh, now
on,
they gotta
man.
keep doing this.
The show was like, hey, our main character almost had a growth moment. Can't have that.
And they end up working out a deal where, because the grandma wants to see her when he comes to visit her on Wednesdays, so they agree every Wednesday he'll rent her to be his girlfriend only for an hour.
Well, they go to the hospital so they don't disappoint Grandma.
Yeah. And then one day when they're on their way back, they come across his friends. And they're like, yo, dude, what? You got a girlfriend? No way. Anyway, we're going to a mixer.
They pull him into an alleyway and they're like, yo, dude,
Did you?
you guys had sex yet?
These dudes are pretty awful.
I love how terrible they are. Like, something about just how horrendous these dudes are amuses me so much. I don't know why. They're like cartoon friends. And
Almost like
terrible.
they are.
Almost
Almost
but they're
like
not.
Cartoon characters.
But they're not, because everyone knows that anime is real.
But yeah, they go to the mixer, and turns out his ex-girlfriend is there as well.
Oh, shit! And to their defense, his friends didn't even know.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we had no idea she'd be here. But
We're
now they
bumbling
gotta...
idiots.
And of course, her whole thing has been trying not to get seen by people at the college, and this is just... She didn't even want to go to it, too. She was like, giving him signs like, I really don't want to go to that. And he's like, well, if it's just for food, just a little bit. And it's
They
like, dude...
were thinking about getting a bite to eat.
I was also thinking about this in that moment. I'm like, man, what an asshole.
Yeah, what a
She
piece
clearly
of
doesn't...
shit.
She's, first of all, not your girlfriend. Clearly doesn't want to. Doesn't want to be associated with anyone with the college. And you're like, well, it looks good for me.
You couldn't even be like, nah, not tonight. I gotta get Chizuru home. Like, not even just a cop-out answer like that.
Nope.
He is the ultimate coward, and I hate him.
And he goes home and cries and apparently consistently masturbates to the idea of his ex-girlfriend getting it on with someone else.
Yes.
That's...
And we don't
not...
need to revisit that point ever again now.
Yep. I don't know why that's a consistent thing with him. It's like every single time.
I hate it.
It's like every time he's home alone, he's like,
this dude. This dude is so bad.
He is the worst.
But everyone else is kind of enjoyable.
Yep, and so when they're at the mixer, he goes to the bathroom, and when he comes back, he finds out his ex-girlfriend is sitting right in front of them now.
And they're talking, and she's talking mad shit about him.
She basically goes on about how he's got a really, uncontrollable libido.
Yeah.
And just a bunch of embarrassing stuff that for when they, went on dates in the past. And Chizuru, because Chizuru is pretty great, is just like, hey, that's not cool. Why would you tell all this to a person you just met?
That's a shitty thing to do, and you are kind of a crappy person.
And she's like, what? No, that's just our friendship. That's our dynamic. And she's like, right? And of course, Chizuru's like, aren't you going to stand up for yourself? And because he's a little coward, he's like, no, that's just how we are.
Like, he couldn't even be like, nah, fuck you. Nope.
And then Chizuru gets mad. She's like, you know what? Whatever, I'm leaving.
I did see an advantage to this, is like, if you wanted a public excuse for a breakup, that's a good opportunity.
Yeah, they could have totally done that. And then
I fucked this up so bad that she broke up with me.
And then he ends up getting his ex-girlfriend. She's bringing him home, and then she's like, hey, my apartment's nearby. Do you want to stop by there? And of course it's going to be probably some trap or something, since this girl seems not like a good person or well off.
She's like sociopathically attracted to the destruction of this one person.
Yeah. Which I get it, he sucks, but not like...
Don't want to just
Yeah.
crush him for no reason. Just like slap him and be like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah. What a mess of characters.
Who do you think is a bigger train wreck? This guy or the main character from Domestic Girlfriend? Because that dude was a fucking train wreck.
I don't know. That dude still got what he wanted, though.
That's a good point.
He still got what the teacher he wanted. He got what he wanted.
He got what he wanted, even though it destroyed him. This guy tries to get something that doesn't even exist and it still destroys him.
Yeah.
What
I
a
don't know.
chump.
I'd say Natsuno isn't as pathetic as this guy.
I'm inclined to agree.
Also, the OP for Natsuno's show is a banger.
It's real good. And you know what?
Slaps.
Speaking of OPs, the OP for this show is done by the same band who did the OP for Bunny Girl Senpai.
Yeah, I noticed that. And
I
all
was
the
like,
girls in
hey.
it are doing their TikTok thing.
TikTok?
Yeah, you know TikTok? They're all doing like TikTok. They're all doing their own little TikTok video thing, it looks like in it. You know, you do a little dance.
Yeah, you do the little dance to the music.
Yeah, they're doing a TikTok video, each of them.
And then hundreds of thirsty boys like and comment on it.
They start simping out.
Yeah, dude. Then the simp bucks come out.
We'll pay for feet pics.
That's always a hard offer to just refuse. Because, like, they don't even have to be elaborate.
Yeah, they're not picky.
That's a weird thing. Like, I don't...
I also like how it's so uniform. Like, it's just like... It's not a localized incident. It's just everywhere.
It's just
like
everywhere.
Everywhere. Like, every single one... Like, every single... Like, woman in any entertainment field has had to, at least at one point, been offered that.
Like, you think it's in the genetics? You think humanity just has bad genetics at this point, and that's what it's starting to come down to, is just feet pics?
It's I guess, just where we're evolving towards.
Maybe humanity does need to be destroyed.
That's going to be that's our economy at some point in the future.
Trading in feet pics in the post-apocalypse. After the collapse, the rise in popularity of feet pics.
Like, everything collapses, and you're the one guy that is stored up on all of that, and you're like, listen, give me half your food and resources. What could you possibly offer me? How about these babies?
I've got feet pics from before the collapse.
No way.
Good God. One pic for half your stock.
I can't find any that are in anything bigger than 240p. Well, good news for you. I got some in 480p.
And I've got one in 1080 HD.
The rarest one. It's like the Book of Eli, where they're all trying to steal his Bible, but instead of registering his feet pics.
His Bible's just full of feet pics. That's some shit right there.
I think I know what we're going to write for the next big light novel series.
In the post-apocalypse, but all I want are feet pics. I think we should stop this line of thinking right there.
Let's move on to our last show, Fire Force.
Fire Force.
Fire Force. So we get introduced to our new character this week, the fifth pillar.
Pink-haired anarchist girl.
Is her name Inca? Am I getting that correct?
I honestly don't remember.
I think it's Inca, but you summarize what happened. I'm going to Google it.
She basically has the ability to sniff out fires, and she uses this with the help of her two goons.
Inca Katsugatani.
Inka Katsugatani. Well, Inka Katsugatani uses her ability to literally sniff out fires alongside the help of her two goons to basically help people get out of fires in exchange for all their valuables. Some might say this is a form of robbery. They see it as a form of reappropriation.
Yeah, because hey, they're not killing anyone; they're helping them live too, which is pretty good. So they're kind of owed it.
How much is your life worth? Is it worth all of your stuff? Then you may live. But they help an old dude and scam him at the same time, and then they go back and
And then all of a sudden, she gets messaged by the evil spirit that was inside of Shinra.
yeah,
Where it's like,
she's gonna.
it's time to awaken, and then a bunch of fires start forming all over the city, and you can tell this chick is bad because she sees all those fires forming, and it's just like, this is awesome. This whole
She's
city's
pumped as
gonna
fuck.
become a sea of flames.
She thinks she can't die by fire because at one point in her past she was like caught up in this huge fire around a town, and that's when she discovered her powers, and she was like, I can't die because I know where it's gonna be, so I'm just not there ever.
Yeah.
And then the evangelists show up because of course they do.
Yeah,
But
because
not before
they're
creepy
always showing
girl.
up.
Yeah. They're always those rambunctious evangelists,
Those
evangelists,
evangelicals.
those evangelians always showing up. Gotta have
Yeah.
mechs fight them.
Yep, they all show up, and the big dude with the bandana across his face shows up. He's like, "You're the fifth pillar, right?" And then she's all nervous and afraid of him, of course, because he just shows up out of nowhere, and he's like, I have the right person, right? You are the fifth pillar."
He's very awkward about it, and I kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah, and then one of her friends is like, "Hey, dude," and he puts his hand on his shoulder, and the dude turns around and just destroys this guy, like obliterates the whole like left side of his torso, kills
Yeah,
him right away.
which is a little bit of a turn for this show. I don't think we've ever had someone just get like super Dragon Ball Z obliterated.
Yeah, so this dude gets absolutely murked,
There's
and
blood everywhere.
the little guy who's or in her friend group is absolutely like terrified, and she realizes that, oh, this dude's after me, so she just tells the other guy to run, and she runs away, and she can dodge all of this dude's attacks because again she can like smell the flames, so she knows exactly where the strike's going to be.
And then her power awakens.
And then she realizes she has the ability to do damage where all she has to do is trace a line,
Yeah,
which
there's
is
like
weird.
a
The visual
start
cue of it, start goal.
and goal, and she's like, what the fuck is that? I like how she is also very confused at it, so she just like traces it with her finger and then it blows up.
Yeah, it blows up on the dude, and he's like, "Oh, you've awakened your power."
You've awakened your fire creation power. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about, so I'm gonna go.
And then the dude corners her with his men, and then all of a sudden she sees a line coming down from the sky directly at the guy, and boom, Shinra shows up.
Yeah.
The hero arrives.
The hero arrives.
I have a feeling
And
this chick's gonna join the Evangelists, though.
probably.
She just has the I'm crazy vibe. I remember when they was like, we need you to join us. We're gonna set the whole world on fire, and she's like, me, you need me? That sounds pretty dope.
That seems pretty good. And Shinra's opening argument is, hey, are you the fifth pillar? I'm going to take you into custody.
Yep, and so...
Not a very good appeal.
Yeah, and Shinra starts getting his ass beat by this guy. And so next week is Shinra versus this guy who's... Oh, I think his name is Charon.
We'll go with that.
Yeah, it's Charon.
Shinra's going to fight Charon and his fucking hype squad.
Yeah.
Because that's what they are. These dudes behind him are a hype squad that do hype chants and make him better.
And Arthur's probably going to show up at some point soon, too, because Arthur seems like he has more involvement in this season.
It feels like Arthur's going to be the guy. He's going to be the backup guy.
I don't know why I'm more into Fire Force now than I was when we were first watching it. Just something about it now. I'm like, yeah, Fire Force. I'm excited, pumped up. Give me the next episode.
There's something about like I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's something kind of about the tone that just feels different. This show just feels different, and I don't know why. Cause not
Maybe it's because I'm more used to the characters now. Because I know near the end, the beginning of Fire Force season 1, I wasn't that into, and I got into it more as we got to the end. Because I really liked the arc where they invade the headquarters, and you had all the fights, like Arthur being a samurai,
yeah,
and the lieutenant having essentially the sniper. It wasn't even a sniper battle with the arrow chick. They were just blowing each other up.
just firing incredible munitions at each other in that
Like
tunnel.
both of them, their bodies just flailing around from the concussive blast of the explosions.
I'd say that fight was probably one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Just
or
because
that
it's
one
like
dude, or that one sexist dude that ends up fighting Maki, Tamaki, and Iris, and they just beat the shit out of him. I think they hit him. They hit him over the head so much that they actually censor what his head looks like.
I'm pretty sure they kill that guy.
Like
Like
they
I'm
beat
pretty
his
sure that
brains
dude
in.
is dead. Cause I don't remember seeing him again.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think they murked that dude.
I think
I'm
so
cool with
too.
it.
But yeah, he that's fine. He wasn't that interesting.
The fact that he was murked is more interesting than him as a character. So he serves
Yeah.
his purpose.
Also, one thing I noticed about this season, I don't. A lot of the EDs are really good.
Yeah, the ED for this one is great.
Yeah, like how it's like a video game, and just it's Arthur and Shinra, and just different characters pop up as different video game characters that do their special abilities and stuff.
Yeah, everyone's like a support pickup.
Yeah, like you get a power up for Maki, and all of a sudden the fists fly out of the sky.
And the one for the lieutenant, he just like shows up on the side and shoots a bunch of bullets.
Yeah,
It's cool. It's nice. It's an interesting little sequence.
yeah, it's good show. I like the squad, and can't wait to see where we're gonna go with this new character,
Yeah,
who
I'm
I know is gonna
curious.
turn evil. It's just, I don't know, too
I'm
crazy for the Fire Force.
I'm feeling like she might start crazy and maybe she'll have like a character turn at some point.
I hope she doesn't, because we can't have two crazy like we can't have two yes fire burn everything crazy bitches like the chick with the crown over her face
Yeah,
in the same
Electric Lady.
yeah, you can't have them both in the same squad.
Yeah. Maybe she'll act as like a third party. Maybe she won't join either faction. And
Yeah,
she'll
we
be
still
like,
gotta figure out what
fuck
the
you
Joker
guys.
guy is up to, because he is clearly a third faction.
And I like that guy a lot.
Yeah, because
He's in the OP.
and he has some connection to the captain of the first.
I wonder if, like the old priest dude, I wonder if both of them have experienced the Adola flame, and like that's the price they got. That's what they
Yeah,
suffered. They
they
lost their
lost their
eyes.
eyes. Yeah,
I don't know.
but no, it's
Mystery,
cool.
intrigue. It's
It's a.
cool though.
I'm looking forward to next week.
Me too.
And
I
if
like.
you are also looking forward to next week, maybe consider sticking with us.
Oui. We can be found on basically every platform.
All of
YouTube
them.
for the video. For the audio, we got iTunes, we got Spotify, we got Deezer if you're across the pond or across the world, Google Play Music podcasts, and iHeartRadio. That's what it is. That's the last one.
Yeah, and you can also find out when we update on social media. We are on Twitter and Facebook at Protagonist Seat, respectively.
And hey, if you thought to yourself, man, this podcast has a pretty cool OP, check out Popskyy with 2 Ys.
Yeah, link in description below. He is the guy that we had make our opening for us.
Yes, I gave him money, and he was like, I will take this and I will give you art. And he did.
And yeah, if you are at all interested in keeping up with us, think about subscribing to the YouTube channel, even if you don't listen on YouTube, just because we're doing a thing right now where if we can get to 50 subscribers by October, we will be doing another anime watch,
Yes.
our
And
favorite horror series.
we will also, if we post any additional content, we will put it up there on the YouTube page as well. And there's also an extensive archive of our basically every episode is
Yeah.
on YouTube.
So if you want to, for some reason, hear about previous anime seasons that have already ended, it's there.
I personally would recommend the season with Spec Ops, Magical Girl Spec Ops Asuka. There's some good bits in there.
Yeah, maybe at some point we'll make a highlight reel of stuff.
Maybe.
We'd have to dig through it though. That's a lot of work.
It is. But
It's better to have
you know what?
It's better to have fans that do that shit for you.
Well, we ain't got that luxury.
Yeah.
But that would be
We
good
don't have
for like
fans
a little
here.
good for
Except
like
for
a
you
little
guys,
teaser.
small amount.
We've got our diehards. We've got
Yeah.
our diehards, and we love them, each and every one. Oh, if you're watching on YouTube and you did in fact like the video, then like the video, because that affects the analytics, the numbers, that affects where we appear in the search engine. So that's a real quick and easy and simple and painless and cost nothing way to support us in our strange ventures.
Yeah,
I think that's it.
Yeah. So think about doing that, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.